Go ahead. Action.
So we left Swansboro this morning after a night in a relatively strange anchorage that was really kind of bumpy because there was a lot of current there. But we left this morning and we headed, up the ICW to the boat. And then from there we went past Morehead City and Beaufort, and I was taking a little nap during that time. I was tired. Went to bed a little bit too late last night. Jeff was getting me up at about crack of dawn.
Well, we spent the morning coming east in Bogue Sound, as Margaret said. This was fairly uneventful. We had some wind from the west, so we had the sail up and we're motor sailing most of the way. Got a little rough towards the end. The wind picked up and started to kick up a decent amount of chop in that long fetch. But we made it in sort of towards the end when we were about 5 miles from Morehead City or so. Margaret went down below and took that nap that she was talking about. This is the area here through Morehead City and Beaufort and then out to the canal that Margaret was asleep for. Navigationally, I find this one of the more difficult areas on the ICW. As you can see here on the chart, there's quite a few different channels going off in all sorts of directions, leaving marks and buoys all over the place, hard to see, easy to get confused with ones that are behind it or ahead of it. And when we were coming south in the fall, I actually had a little bit of trouble here. Went off on the wrong channel for, I don't know, a couple hundred yards before I had to backtrack. But even being aware of those problems as we were heading north this time, it was just a little difficult, little hard to find the way. But we made it through.
And then we came across now. Now we're in Noose, and we are trying to put in like a 64-mile and yeah, we're using the autopilot, which is nice. We've been hand steering a lot. This trip we've already covered over 500 miles since we left St. Mary's, and we got about, I don't know, another 300 and something to go before we get to Minneapolis, and we have a week today. So I was just telling Jeff that I was looking forward to getting the anchor down tonight and making some food, maybe sort of tapas style. Got some fresh veggies that we need to cook up, and maybe some, fried tofu, something like that. So yeah, it's been a pretty long but uneventful day. Haven't hit anything. Cross, knock on wood. And the boat is working fairly well, except for our alternator and V-belt, which are still giving us problems.
Well, as Margaret mentioned, we were filming that while we were heading down the Neuse River. We were sailing most of the way. We had wind behind us, and the wind continued to pick up as we went down the Neuse, leading to some pretty lumpy seas. It was, good 1 to 2 foot chop or so before we turned into the Bay River. Once we were in the Bay River, we headed up into Bonner Bay and then anchored up in Long Creek. It was probably about 2 miles or so off the ICW, so it was quite a ways to go just for evening anchorage. It was also a little difficult to get into. Depths were 10 feet, 12 feet down the center or so, but off to the side they shoaled up pretty quickly. And so, we were kind of touch and go. Margaret was down looking at the chart plotter a little bit, and I was taking some bearings off of the shoreline. But we got in, we anchored up, and had a windy evening while we made that food that Margaret was talking about. But take it easy, guys, and we'll take you along on the rest of the adventure a little bit later.